Okay, so as per request, this is going to be the monk guide slash champion guide for level 70 to level 100, which is going to be something that I'm going to be tackling today. The reason why I'm not going beyond level 100 is because we don't know how much of a change the level 100 plus meta is going to be. Yeah, you know, there might be buffs, there might be nerfs. That way we don't confuse ourselves once the buffs and the nerfs, if there are any, come into the game. So to keep it simple, we're gonna go straight into stats. You know, where you're staying right now is Asura, 99 strength, 97 intelligence. You know, you could get that up to 99 if you want. Now, this is something that you need to take in consideration. This build right here, this is not for PvP. This is for PvE, right? If you're trying to do as much damage as you can, whether it's Helheim, whether it's like all the other dungeons, whether it's like you're trying to MVP, even though there's an MVP shield right now. These are the stats that you're trying to go for maximum Asura damage. Obviously, this build is going to be heavily reliant on using Fist as your main weapon. So plus 15 Fist, if higher if you can. That is your PvE Asura build. Now, you might be concerned, it's like, what about like for PvP? What do I do? So for PvP, what you're going to do is you're going to mainly focus on intelligence. You're going to go, let's say like 99 intelligence. And because you're PvPing, you want to put the rest in vitality. Obviously, you can see here what the trend is. The trend is that it's going to be very reliant on vitality to get you tanky, and plus the SP from intelligence that is also going to help contribute to your damage. There is one difference for this though. For the Asura, for the PvP Asura build, instead of using Fist, and this is especially if you're like mid spender to like high spender, or you know, to some degree, if you're luckier, even low spenders can do this too. So what you're going to do is, instead of utilizing Fist for your build, what you're going to do, and we're going to go over here to the level, you know, level 80 gear, which is where most servers are going to be. Weirdly enough, instead of going Fist for your Asura build, you're actually going to be using this one right here. Yeah, so Slash, you might be curious why you want to use Slash. If you're already one-shotting people with your Asura, then there's no reason for you to use Fist, right? If you have a higher upgraded Slash, you can use Slash. And the other thing too is that it is a one-handed mace. So what's going to happen there is, if you're PvPing, your main goal is you're going to try to go in, you're trying to Asura, and you're trying to battery relocate out, and you're trying to run away because you want it to be a 1-0 trade in your favor. You don't want it to be a 1-for-1 trade because a lot of times you consider that a loss. Very few instances where you consider that a win. Those instances are usually when you Asura their hyper carry. Let's say like in 5v5, they only have 5 lives. If you 1-for-1 their hyper carry that whole time, then that becomes worth it. So that is why we want to go with Slash, because we are going to go for either, depending on your choice, you could go for a Round Buckler for more HP, or you could also go for my personal choice, which is Crack Buckler, because it negates neutral damage, and it also gives you an auto proc for Kyrie, which is shield, which means it's better survivability for you. So this is your PvP build. And what are the advantages of Slash, right? So besides the fact that you can Asura somebody, and if it's enough to kill them, it's also really good already, but you also have more options with Slash. If you're going for Fist, you're relegated to Asura. That's it. If you're using Slash, you can use it for Asura, you can use it for Finger Offensive, and you can use it for Combo Monk as well. So keep that in mind when you're planning out your build, especially if you're job changing to Monk. See where your gear is at. If you feel like your gear is at a like healthy level, like you have a plus 15 weapon already, swap it over to Slash, give that a shot. If you like it and it's working towards your favor, and it's actually one-shotting, you know, like whale still, then what point is there in going for Fist, you know, especially if you're trying to MVP as well, because your Asura is capped anyway, then maybe you want to go Combo Monk, maybe you want to go Finger Offensive. You have those choices if you go this route, right? So for PvE combo, you're going to be going with 99 agility and rest strength. Now, if you went Fist, then obviously you're not going to try to use Fist for your Combo Monk. Your go-to here would be the Golden Hammer. This was the staple for NA, and it's even more so now for Combo Monks because of the fact that Golden Hammer in Global actually did get buffed, right? So obviously you're going to be going for Undead and Demon Monsters because it helps your, you know, your DPS a lot more. That is the route that you're going to take if you went the Fist route instead of the Slash and Shield route. right? And now on to the next build, which is your finger offensive. So for finger offensive, you're gonna go for 99 strength and put the rest in dex. And obviously you're going to be using the berserker fist. And you're gonna be going this option if you want to go the finger offensive route. Let's say that you went the fist route and you're wanting to like just build another weapon for your finger offensive, you have that option. But again, if you followed my advice earlier on slash, then it is actually a lot better to just go slash. That way you don't have to keep switching between weapons. You can focus on upgrading one weapon, and it's kind of like an all-purpose thing where it still gives you the option to wear a shield and be tanky and go in for the Asura and survive, right? So that's the main thing about PvP. It's about making the decision to make good trades, which is usually 1-for-0 trade in your favor. And that's usually what I would consider a good trade. For armor, it is we're gonna go to the gear section here. I know we just talked about like weapons along with the stat builds, but you might be curious as to what you're going to get here for your armor. It's a bit tricky, but it's going to be a lot easier with divine arms at level 90, which is going to be another video. But basically, for PvP especially, you want to go for the Goibni set because you want to be tanky. You already one-shot Asura people, and then you just want to survive because you want to make it into a good trade. Then Goibni set is the staple for PvP if you want to be a good PvP monk with a lot of survival. This is not only good for PvP, but this is also usable for MVPs as well because a dead monk does no DPS, right? But if you want to optimize for your finger offensive, you can also opt for the Tears armor. This is obviously if you're choosing to specialize in FO. If you're really confident in your survival, you can go Tears armor if you want, although I still advise that you go with the Goibni set. You have this choice. In my own personal opinion, I'd say that Goibni set is a no-brainer when it comes to champions, but obviously you have the choice of Tears armor if you'd like, because it really does help your FO damage. At 90, you have access to the Magic Tide set. Now, a lot of classes are going to be enjoying this set a lot because not only does it give you more damage for having more SP, it gives you more SP by itself. So as we all know, as the case with like champions, more SP, more damage, right? So there you go. If you feel like you need more damage with your Asura, especially because let's say like you went the slash and shield route and you want more SP to do more damage, then you have the option to go for the Magic Tide rope and boost your damage a little bit so you can still one-shot people even as we get into the late game or the later stages of the game. And yeah, so Magic Tide is still going to be an option, and obviously your secondary option is going to be Goibni's armor. So that's going to be your 90 set that you're going to be going for. So for some extra tips and tricks when it comes to gearing, we had this, like a lot of our champions had this like neat trick in NA at the time, which obviously is going to translate really well here in global as well, as we saw in the previous videos that we made, was the making the 3 weapons trick. If you really want to optimize every single build, there isn't a huge difference from like golden mace between like level 50, 70, or 80. So what other champs would do, they would get a level 70 golden mace or golden hammer. They would upgrade it to like +6 or +7 or whatever, and they would use that to do their CT, Geffen 3, for example, where it's the most effective. Then they would also make fists for Asura, and then they would just make a slash, like level 80 slash or level 90 slash, and equip a buckler as well. And this is like if you're hard whaling, by the way. So if you're like mid spender to like just a little bit like a high spender, then considering a higher upgraded slash might still be the option for you. On to the next part here is in terms of cores. Cores for champions are very straightforward. You might notice here that I have a purple Asura Flash, which Guillotine Fist becomes insta-cast and then gains 5 extra cast range. What we found out after some testing is that there actually is it was just like there was no difference between a purple and a yellow core for Asura Flash. So you don't have to go for Dimix. If you can get a good one from your Vesper from your purples, from your Vesper Cogwheels or Vesper cores, go for that. It really doesn't make a difference. So for your auto attack CT, for momentum management, because that gives you attack speed, and then mana length reversal, which gives you more damage the closer you are to your enemy. And as a melee damage dealer, you're always close by to your target, so you're always going to be doing the maximum amount of damage. In terms of like finger offensive combat time grinding, you're going to be going for the mana length one. The farther they are, the more damage you do, and you're going to go for that. And then you're also going to go for the bloodthirst core. And then right up here, I'm going to be posting a screenshot of the skill build for finger offensive, Asura, and combo monk. And you can just go ahead and pause the video here and then I'll you can take a screenshot and save it for future use, and hopefully that helps you out. So in terms of cards, let's pull it up here. Okay, so for headgear, you have the option for Elder Willow card. It's a very cheap card, easy to 3-star and get like the most advantage that you can get from it, which is huge. You can do that for DPS. The other thing you can do is obviously Marduk card, because you are a caster class, right? You're FO caster class, you're Asura caster class. If you're silenced, you can't do any damage, you can't kill anybody. So having a Marduk card completely negates that fact, and then you can just go ahead and one-shot people. And the next one here is for the armor cards. Easily one of the best ones for damage is going to be Baby Desert Wolf. At 3-star, it does give you like more HP. It gives you the initial bonuses of intelligence. It gives you another additional int +3. And at 3-star, it gives you SP +100, which is going to be huge. Obviously, your Sura, more int, more SP, more damage, right? So there you go. So next up, we have here for weapon. Very straightforward. You just want Hydra card for PvP. If you can 3-star that, even better. Next up is going to be Scout Worker. 18% damage to medium, plus like the extra P attack. That is very standard for PvP. And obviously, when you're trying to fight MVPs, you want to go for the cards that actually counter MVPs. Very straightforward. For Mantle, if you can still get it, Vagabond Wolf card, 100%, probably one of the best cards that you can get for yourself if you have the money to spare, and if it still appears in the market pretty often, assuming it's still part of the Bloody Branch summons. You might want to get it as soon as you can before it gets phased out in the Bloody Branch summons, and then it's showing up in the market becomes more and more scarce. But if that's not enough, what you can do is you can grab a Frildora. Intelligence +3, variable cast time, not too big of a deal, but the intelligence over there actually does help. And you can view it in game, or I can show you here. Frildora card, magic damage reduction, definitely a big deal. So for shoes, this one's pretty easy, pretty obvious, easy to get. Variant card, max SP 4%. Get this up. This is going to be an easy card for you to get, and it's going to be very effective. 4% SP always helps. More HP for survivability always helps. And now this one is where it gets a little bit more options, not really complicated. For like combo and finger offensive, you want to go for cards like Mantis card. A little bit hard to snap, but if you can get them, they're relatively cheap compared to everything else. You can try to get them 3-star if you want to. You could also go for, weirdly enough, yes, it is sight level 1, but if I could show you an example. Horon card, let's say that Mantis is a little too hard to get, a little too hard to snap because everybody and their mothers is using like an auto clicker or something to get their cards. There is 99 plus of this right now, and I'm pretty sure in other servers it's also a lot of it, right? So what you can do is, a good alternative is try to get this, right? It's pretty cheap, 15k. And you can get a 3-star version of this, and it will give you a total of, after getting it to 3-star, a total of 1.5% physical damage, which it's a lot more accessible than the Mantis card. It's definitely an option. I know it's a weird option, I understand that, but it does give you what you need, exactly what you need, more accessible and a lot cheaper price, right? You look at Mantis card right now, 40k. So this is basically 2.5 Horon cards right here, if you can get it. So that is probably like a more of a secret strat. I don't know if it's a secret strat. I don't know if a lot of people know about it yet, but if you didn't know about it before, well, now you know. Also, just to add like a bit of a side note here that I wrote for myself. At level 90, you guys heard me earlier, I mentioned for level 90, the choices are going to be between Magic Tide and Goivni set. And people might be asking like, hey, so it's like, what about Tears armor, right? It's like especially for FO. From the testing that we did, Tears armor versus Magic Tide robe. Magic Tide actually deals about the same, if not more damage than the Tears armor for FO. And obviously because of how Magic Tide works with the max SP and everything, it not only is better for the same, if not better for FO, obviously it is the much better choice for Asura. That pretty much sums it up. If you guys have any questions, just make sure that you leave it in the comments below and I'll try to answer them one by one. Again, thank you to Debay, thank you to Raph for helping me with majority of this guide actually. Multiple minds of people that mained the class for a very long time in NA and really performed well in PvP, and hopefully this helps you guys. And as for the next guide, let me know in the comments below, and make sure to make that guide. Peace.